I say hello, everyone. Welcome to the red carpet event here for the 2022 AFL Fantasy Football League meeting. Right now, it's just me, just the fantasy commissioner here. I'm waiting on people to arrive, of course, and once some do, we'll start talking about some of the teams like we do every year, the kind of individual breakdowns. And then we'll go off the air probably about 5:30, I'm thinking. Late as 5:40. Give it a quick break before we go live again for the mainstream at 6 o'clock. So today we're gonna have a good showing. It sounds like we're gonna have probably 10 in house. It sounds like we're gonna have 4 on stream, and then 2 will not be on stream. But I've already talked with them and gotten any input they may have. Kind of gotten some of if they have any votes, if there's any concerns that they want brought up. Those types of things. Of course, we'll get into some other things that have happened during the meeting. Overall, I think it was a good season, and we'll elaborate more on that once we get going with these individual breakdowns, of course. And it's kind of before I start doing those, I kind of want some, either Guy or Tony or whoever shows up here first. I know Guy told me he was on his way. Thought he'd be here maybe about 10 minutes or so. And I know Tony was going to try to get here so we could get this red carpet going, kicking off. And, one thing I did is I updated here the AFL League History book. And just some random things I'll throw out there. Kind of just looking at, I was just looking at our first overall picks here. And for those of you newer to the stream or the league or just kind of wonder the history of our league. So these are the breakdowns of all the first round picks, or the first overall picks we've ever had. And so the first overall pick we ever had, which was in 2014, was Adrian Peterson. That was by me. And then in 2015, the first overall pick, which was the only receiver that's going to be on this list, by the way. So since 2014, we've only drafted one non-running back. All the others have been running backs. So Amari Cooper was the first overall pick in 2015 by Chris Miller, which is now Dennis's team. And then in 2016, Ezekiel Elliott was the first overall pick by myself. In 2017, Mark Thompson selected running back Christian McCaffrey. And then in 2018, Mark Thompson selected Saquon Barkley. And then 2019, I had the first overall pick. I picked running back David Montgomery. And then in 2020, I again had the first overall pick. I selected Jonathan Taylor. And last year's first overall pick, which was by Dennis, was running back Najee Harris. So I think this year could possibly be the first time we don't have a running, or the first time since 2015 that we don't have a running back go first overall. It is a weaker running back group. And it's a stronger receiver group for sure. The quarterback selections aren't that strong either. The only thing that might throw the running back position off as far as the draft would be if there's a decent name that wasn't a rookie, that's not kept. That could be a potential first overall pick as well. I'm not really sure what top running back like that would not be kept, but you never know. As far as running backs for the rookie draft, I mean, there's Isaiah Spiller. I'd say Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker, and probably Bryce Hall? I'm probably saying it wrong. Those are probably your top 3 running back contenders. None are expected to go in the first round of the NFL draft. You probably won't see one really, maybe mid-second. Again, it's not a very strong NFL running back group for the rookie class. The receivers, though, there's some good ones. There's 2 out of Ohio State. We have, there's the Watson kid out of North Dakota. There's a kid there's a Drake London out of USC. There's Jameson Williams, the receiver from Bama. So So there's potential for. I mean, and these are potential first round picks in the NFL draft. So these will definitely be top picks in our draft for sure. Um, if people want to know my view on how our season in 2021 went, I thought it was very good overall. The one thing that we of course did, and a lot of this is going to get rehashed, of course, when the meeting itself starts. We had our big five keeper year, which made it the biggest draft we ever had, and I mean, it did its job. It brought parity through the league. If you look at the records, go to our history guide here. Let's see. You had only two teams with double-digit wins. You had three teams with a 9-win season. 4 teams with a 7-7 record. 4 teams with a 5-9 record. 1 with a 6-8, and then the final 2 were 3-11. So definitely parity was predominant. And when we do some of the breakdowns, what I do is have I go game by game, and any score that was 100-point or less differential, those I consider close games. Hold on. Yeah. All right, we're back. Sorry, the wife had a question. Had to help her out with something real quick. So, where was I? Oh yeah, parity. So the parity in the league definitely. The point of the 5 keeper was to bring down, because we had gotten really top heavy. Let me give you the breakdown of 2020 while we're at it here. I'll show you the differential. So in 2020, I guess in 2020, I guess parity was pretty strong in 2020 too. I guess the problem was, one thing it did do is, for example, Christina was 1-12 in 2020, and she finished overall 7th place. She went from 1-12 to 7-7. Dennis went from 2-11 to 7-7. Will Baldry went from 2-11 to 9-5. What else did we do? I came up from 7-6 to 12-2. Efren came down. He was, of course, he was a champion in 2020. He was the only double-digit winner in 2020. Anthony actually improved as well, and he was a very strong team. Tony was a strong team, of course, and he second overall last year. 2020. He, of course, won it all this year. Nick Ergang actually went down by like a game. Ritz went up by a game. So there was definitely improvement, not as much decline. The only teams that truly declined were, in 2020 was Raymond Bailey's team, which now is Megan's team. Went from 7-6 to that 3-11, and Mark went down from 9-4 to 3-11, but he was hampered by injuries in 2021. But you look at some of these teams now. Some of these teams' records are also deceptive. In 2020, Ross Carlson, which is Kyle Sykes' team, was 8-5. Of course, Kyle finished 9-5, but it was a loaded roster. What this basically did is it did hit the stronger teams overall and helped the weaker teams in previous seasons come up. Of course, you still have to hit the mark on the draft, but it definitely did its job. The one thing I personally would like to see, and it is a topic in this year's meeting as it was previous year, when we voted back in, was that 2019? When we voted to do the 5-year, we voted as a 10-10-5. Now last year we upgraded that to 10-10-7, which I was personally fine with the 5. What I want to see is more 10s. So I'd rather see, to be honest with you, I'd want to see it as every 5 years we do this reset. If we're going to do the reset, I say every 5 years, because here's the problem with doing just 10-10s. I don't think you're giving teams enough, you're not giving them enough time to truly, or when they build something and it gets good, it's getting torn right apart. So that's why I really think that number has to come up, and that none of that would be effective even until the 2025 season, because 2024 is locked in for our next year that we do the 10-10-7, and there's a few other things that have been brought up that I think if they go into effect, are not going to go into effect till after 2024. The one thing about our fantasy football league is this is going to be our 9th season, and every year we of course do these league meetings and we tweak things here and there. We've done big wholesale changes and we do tweaks, I think, and we're now to the point where our league is just very small. Tweak here, tweak there. I'm not saying our league's perfect. I know a lot of people would look at our league as definitely unusual. The fact that, for example, you get a point for every single yard gained. Quarterback gets a point for every yard thrown. You get a point for every receiving yard. You get a point for that's big. We have very high scoring league, but it's fun and everyone enjoys it. I think it's cool. It's different. And my favorite part is the fact that we have the individual defensive players. Now, there are some leagues that do that. That's another one that I wouldn't mind seeing us add a defensive position, even if it's just one flex player. Because the one thing, I look at this, the one thing about it, if you have a weak team, say you have a weak running back, and running backs are gold in our league. If you don't get them in that early first round, you're kind of out of luck. Or, unless you trade it for one. So, how do you balance that? And you balance that with defense. If you can afford to have a lower scoring offensive personnel, if your defensive personnel are putting out high numbers. I've said this again and again. I would love to see someone win our league because of their defense. this year, of course, I had Tom Brady, and probably the first year I ever had a high output quarterback. I've always had the lower grade quarterbacks. Kind of intentional. I've always, really favored that running back position, put it into that defensive position. Gotten close before to winning it, but I haven't. Of course, this year was the closest I came, and unfortunately did not win it. But I know the guy that did win it, he definitely values defense as well. And if you look at his defense, and again, I wanted to wait till people get here, but we'll just quick look at his defense. Tony's, that is. And he had Darius Leonard, he had Derwin James, Sam Hubbard. He had some great defensive output. Darius Leonard alone puts out more than most running backs do. Derwin James, when healthy, in the right situations, he can put out 100-point games himself. So those are ways that you can take a situation of having a poor running back situation. Like I said, this year's a bad running back year. It really is. And of course, we have our draft lottery table. Find out who gets that first overall pick. And just so you know, I got the board over here. We got our top. Of course, the 10 that did not qualify for the playoffs are the ones in the draft lottery, and they all get different amounts of balls. Megan, so they have what's projected and selected on the board, and the projected means that's where they actually sit going in. They have the most bing bong balls. They're Easter eggs actually, but happy Easter everyone. But Megan actually has the most eggs in this, followed by Mark. Jordan sat in the third spot. However, I had acquired Jordan's first round pick in trade, so I actually have Jordan's pick. So I have the third most. Efren 4, Nick Ergang 5, Dennis is 6. Mark through Guy has the 7th most. So Mark actually has 2 good chances. Rich has number 8, and Jordan actually acquired a first round pick through Nick Ritz. So he has the number 9 spot, and then Christina at the 10 spot. And we'll have that during the course of the meeting. That will get selected, and that's always a fun time. And then we'll know who's got the first overall pick in 2022. And of course, once those happen, once those 10 spots get locked in, of course, going beyond that, we have the ones that are already locked in, which are the playoff teams. We have at number 11, you're going to have Mark, which was actually Will's pick. That was from a previous trade. Jimmy at 12, Anthony at 13, Kyle at 14. And then Rich, through trade, has pick 15 and 16, which was mine and Tony's. So Rich actually has 3 in the first round, and Mark has 3 in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, with this year, you're going to see in those 16 picks, you're going to probably see a couple of running backs go. I see Walker going in that 16. I see Spiller going in that 16 for sure. But also in that 16, you're going to see some of those receivers we were talking about earlier. Some of those Ohio State receivers, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London out of USC, Christian Watson from North Dakota. Who else? There's the Dotson kid out of Penn State. Williams out of Alabama. And I know I'm missing another top wide receiver. Just so everyone knows, we are potentially going to have a post-meeting stream, which will be the first time we ever did that. It'll be a heavy stream day, I guess. And if we do that, we're going to talk to the group. Whoever wants to stay over, we'll do that. And guys already said he'd be willing to stay. Kyle actually said he'd be willing to stay, but I don't know how he's going to get part of it. He can text in maybe who he's thinking for first-round picks. What we would do is we would just preview the NFL draft in the first round. That's, of course, coming up here in, 2 weeks? August 28th. And we'll be doing a live stream right here in-house. And I know Guy and Tony are both going to be a part of that with me. And of course, we've done that in previous years. Basically, we're going to sit there, we're going to watch it, and you're going to get, if you watch us, you're going to get our perspective on how the picks go and how it could affect fantasy football, specifically fantasy for us, but potentially fantasy for anyone. We kind of try to make it also for everyone, not just our league. And it's always a good time to do that. It's always fun. We're usually wrong, but everyone looks at football and football players differently. Everyone looks at talent differently. I know I look at players a completely different way than a Guy or a Tony or a Mark would, perhaps. What time we got here? We're going on 4 o'clock. Guy said he was going to be here at 3:45. It's almost 10 minutes late, buddy. Where are you, Guy? I'm here. I'm hanging myself. I'm choking here by myself. I'm running out of stuff to talk about by myself. One thing another thing so you guys know what we're looking to do potentially with the stream is kind of give more of a look back. And so I've been watching a stream called Something to Wrestle With with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. Shout out to those gentlemen. Many of you might remember Bruce Pritchard in the 80s, early 90s. He was Brother Love from the WWE, then WWF, of course. And he has a really cool podcast they do, the two of them together. And Conrad kind of brings up questions per se. He brings up, rumor and innuendo is a very popular phrase. And what you get with Bruce is you get first-hand insight, because Bruce was there. Bruce was not just an on-screen character as Brother Love, but he was a behind-the-scenes guy. I mean, most of the time he was in the gorilla position, which, if for those of you who don't know what the gorilla position is, the gorilla position is basically it's you're right next to, before the guys go out, you're the last thing they see or talk to before they walk through the curtain to head to the ring. So he may quick say, hey, don't forget to say this, or don't forget to do this. He checks the guys to make sure that they are dressed properly, all those types of things. So it's a very important position. He's also been in talent relations. He's worked for other companies. He worked for TNA for a while. And he's, where else? He was down in Texas for a while, I believe. I'm not sure. I think he was with the UWF at one point. He joined WWF in '87, just after WrestleMania 3. And he was there for a very, very long time before there was a parting of ways, and then he came back. So he was big time. He was with them during the whole Attitude Era. Anyways, the whole point is he does a really cool podcast, and he breaks down everything. So I thought about doing something like that with the guys and bringing different people in here and talking about, for example, topics like we're going to redraft the 1983 draft. We're going to redraft the 1989 draft. We're going to look at, what were the best dynasties? Who were the all-time players, top 10, top 100, whatever. I do hear, by the way, potentially someone upstairs. We might have our first person walking in here. Not sure who it is yet. I haven't figured that out. My wife's talking to someone up there. Sorry, I'm trying to listen. She might be on the phone, actually. Anyway, so it's just a cool idea I thought we could have. I know this is probably getting a little bit boring, but trying to think of what else we can talk about here. So other things that will go on during today's meeting. So here's how I'll give you the whole format. So we're going to start off with a recap of 2021. I'll give my kind of little synopsis of how the season was. Then we'll look at the plus-minus ratio. So what plus-minus is, it's plus-minus to what you were 2020. So, for example, if you finished, for example, Tony, we'll give you Tony. Tony finished second last year. He finished first this year. That's a +1. Jimmy, I believe, finished in the same position. That's a push. And then you look at Efren. You know, he went from being first to what? Excuse me, 13th. So it's like what, negative 11, negative 12. So those are the examples. So we do that, and then we praise the division winners, the 4 division winners for 2021. And then we'll hand out the 2021 Best of the Rest winner award trophy. And then we will have our 2021 championship video presentation. And then followed immediately by the presenting of the award for 2021, the championship trophy. And then we will have any final thoughts. If anyone has any final thoughts on 2021, they can say it then and there. And then we'll just close out the season for 2021. And there's always a little pause. And then it's a welcome to 2022. And then what we'll do is we'll release the schedule for 2022. I actually make all the game schedules myself. I have a formula I go by. So what happens is, obviously, there's 4 divisions, so you play your division teams all twice. And then there's a rotating division that you play every year. So there's 3 other divisions. So I don't remember. I have it written down. It'll be shared in the meeting. So let's say the East plays the West this year. Then the next year the East may play the North, and then following it's the South, and then it's all over. It just rinse and repeat. And so that gets it. So that's how I do that. Those are that's 10 games right there locked up. I don't have to worry about. And the remaining 4 games are comprised by how you finished. So you will play other teams from other divisions basically based on how you finished. So whatever division you're not playing that year. So let's say if the East and the West are facing each other. So your other 4 games, maybe you're going to play the 2 bottom teams. You're going to play the bottom team from the North and the South, and the second to bottom from the North and the South. And that's your 4 other games. And then flip side, if you finish first, if you win your division, then you're playing the number 1s and number 2s from those other divisions. We always do the first week is always kind of like a wild card week. Basically, what I do is whoever was the championship game is automatically locked in for week 1. And then the rest of the schedule for week 1 is based around that. So, for example, this year it's Tony and I were in the championship game. So this year, Tony and I will be facing each other in week 1. And then for example, you're going to see Jimmy playing Anthony in week 1. You're going to see, you're going to see Mark playing against Megan, I believe, and so forth. And then week 2, 3, and 4 are always in division games. Same with week 12, 13, 14. So those are always locked in as division games. The only time that they're not that way, the bottom 3 or the last 3 games are always that way. The only way the other is if, for example, let's say Jimmy and myself would have played in the finals this year. That would have been game 1. So then all division games would have went week 1, 2, and 3, as opposed to 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to announce the schedule. From there, we'll go over the draft, which for the most part it won't change, unless there's something that someone has. Hey, have you thought about doing this? Or let's do this. And then we'll look at those types of changes if need be. I know I'm probably leaving something out. We'll go into very shortly after that will be the draft lottery. Sometimes, we've been very fortunate with draft lottery, I'll be honest with you. So in this thing, there's like 300 some balls or Easter eggs. By the way, right here, those trophies I was talking about, they're right behind this. But anyways, So there's like 300 Easter eggs, and so far we've been pretty lucky that for the most part they've been drawn pretty quickly. We haven't really had to go through a lot of them. And I know it's going to happen at some point. And today could be the day that happens. Who knows? But so far, the first 2 years of the draft lottery have gone by quickly. I know one thing that people have brought out is it was suggested that we do this computer. Here's the only thing. If we do a computer, it takes a human factor out of it. And I want that human factor in it. For example, Rich, last year, Rich finished 10th. Or, I'm sorry, he finished 7th, which means he had the least amount of Easter eggs. But he went from the 10th position in the first round, he bumped all the way up to 6th. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen in a computer, but I don't see it happening in a computer. I love the human factor in it. In the 2 that we've had so far, we have not had the team with the most balls go get the first pick yet. I think how'd it go? We had the first year we did it. Jimmy had the most, and I think he got the second overall pick. And last year, Christina had the second overall pick. Dennis. So both years, the team with the second most ping pong balls moved up. Or wait, actually, the first year we did it, the third seed, the one that had the third most, actually came up to 1. Excuse me. So after the draft lottery, then we go into the voting. And so from there, after the voting part, and that's always the longest portion, and that's the part that you guys, if you're newer to this, you're going to see the most discussion going on during that. And this will be the first year that we have this quadcaster, which is what I'm talking to right now. In seasons past, we haven't had the ability to really hear the room. So, excuse me. This will actually go in. Once we're done with this red carpet event, this microphone will go into the middle of the room, and what will happen is you're going to hear everything these people say, and which is cool. It's a good thing. I'll have to repeat a lot less that way. I don't have to necessarily try to dictate what's going on to let you hear I don't have to speak for them. You're going to hear their actual words. And that's a good thing. From there, after the voting, then we'll go into the Hall of Fame vote. Now, every year, and this goes back to 2015 when we started the Hall of Fame, and that's like the one I don't have the Hall of Fame one on me. I'm sorry about that, the Hall of Fame class one, but we've been doing a Hall of Fame starting in 2015. And initially, I was the one that selected everything, and it was brought up. Well, hey, why can't we have a say? You know what? So I said, you know what? Why not? So every year at the meeting, so I think I started in 2016, or maybe it was 2007. I'm sorry, it was 2017. That's when that started, and so we've been having people vote. The league has been helping to vote it, and so far we've had what owners have gone in. So. Jason Epplett went in 2015. I don't have it. I'm like literally doing this off my mind. Tom Nelson, he went in 2016. In 2017, which was the first year we did a vote, it was a tie, and it was Jimmy and myself went in. In 2018, I had both. If I remember, it was my brother Chris went in. 2019 was Nick Ritz. 2020 was Rich Nillette. 2021 which was last year, was Ross Carlson. So this year we'll have that vote. I already have the people that are streaming. I have all their votes. So we'll collect the rest of the room's votes on that, and then we'll find out in August. Also, during the stream, I'll announce when the draft is, our draft, the fantasy draft, which is August. I'll give you the... It's in August. It's a real shock because it's never not been in August, but it's in August, and then I'll give the actual date, which I'm hoping people will be excited for. I'm excited for it for this year. Excited for every year. You know, I think that's the whole point of this is to bring people together, and that's my favorite part. Is the draft is my favorite part, and I think the meeting is my second favorite part, and then the season itself is the season itself. It's a good time. Enjoy it, but this is what I look forward to is having these people here, having you watching us there at home, part of the stream if you're not able to be with us live here in house. And but yeah, the draft is definitely fun, and so after the voting, after the Hall of Fame balloting, then I open up the trading, and if there's any trades that everyone's allowed to do trades during this gap where where was it? Somewhere in November. I can't remember the exact date. Somewhere in November is where it shuts off, and then up to now, they could talk. They could have a deal already worked out. It just can't be given to me and announced until today. I can tell you no one has given me one yet, and that's happened before where they gave me one. They said, well, I will not be announced until after I open up the trading. So no one's given me one yet, so I don't know if there's any trades. I hope there's. I love to have a trade to announce today. I'd love to have that. I know I don't have one myself. I've been trying to work out a couple of trades myself. And if you're watching this, you know who you are, who have messaged. So from there, I feel like I'm missing something. I have it all on my sheet. I just don't want to crack it out yet. But usually after that, then we get into any final comments. We go around the room, and I think only really 1 year did we have someone. Oh my God, I'll never forget that. Here's a fun story. So it was It was our first ever league meeting, and I went around the room. That was before we had the stream, of course. And I asked literally the entire room, "Do you have anything? You have anything?" No, 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 no. The very last person. Joe Miller, which is now Will Baldry's team. And he's like, "Yes, I do." I'm like, "Oh boy," because I knew it was just like going to be some crazy, outlandish idea. And when this ran about how we're ending the season too early, and so basically that he wanted to include the NFL playoffs. Here's why we don't do the NFL playoffs. It's more difficult, first of all, to track all that stuff. Not as many sites. I'm sure there is a site that does it. I haven't found one. I haven't really researched it yet either. I can tell you this personally. Guy is here, people. He startled me. Hold on. Apparently it's locked. I thought I unlocked it. There's a little trigger at the bottom. I thought when I did that it was good. Oh. It's all brand new, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. We just got it like in December.
Oh, that's right.
So that's probably why I completely like I already started, just kind of been talking to the thing myself. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Or you want me anywhere?
I can sit wherever. This one does not have assigned seating. So for those of you, Guy is here, by the way. When he's like, "Where do you want me to sit?" So during the draft, we actually have assigned seating. During the meeting, we do not. And a lot of that has to do with it's just easier to track where the positioning. If I have people sit in a certain way, try to have them close to each other. So it's like, when one person goes, they know who's next to them. It's going to be the next person to go. Easier to track a draft. How you doing, guy? Come sit with us.
Good.
Come get on stream here. I've been boring the people for the last 45 minutes, I think, trying to fill air gap. And let's see what we got here. Got some incoming messages. What we got here? Sorry, I'm just responding to Jordan. He's not going to be able to actually watch the stream. What else we got here? Oh, yep. The champion entrance was not open. I apologize for that. Guy has named our back door the champion's entrance. So,
Little pause between those two words.
champion's entrance?
Back door.
Oh. Okay. By the way, you did startle me there.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, I'm sure that's on camera for all to see. So how you been?
I've been good.
Yeah?
Yeah, ready for football.
Yep. Ready for the meeting,
I'm ready to draft now.
You know what? It's not going to be a very good running back draft. If you can figure that out. It's a weak running back draft. I've been telling the viewers about that.
Yeah. It depends on. It's really going to be who ends up where.
I don't know if one even goes even mid-second round. There's not going to be one going on the first day for sure.
No.
I think this
first round. I'd say I probably agree with you. Like the back half, I think first half of the second round there'd probably be one maybe. At the end of the second into the thirds, and they're all going to start flying off.
But there's no. I mean, what Spiller could be the biggest game breaker of them, but there's no.
Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker.
I just don't know if they're just the game breaker that you're looking for. I mean,
Are
there's
they Elijah Mitchells or are they all Trey Sermons? I don't think there's a consensus any position really this year.
Here you go. Look at it this way. So I think, let's take Kenneth Walker for example. Let's say he goes to Atlanta. His fantasy value is going to go up because they don't really have anything. They don't have a running back. I mean, what they got? If you got Mike Davis, but
Cordero.
Don't you think that's just because there's nothing else? I mean, he had a productive season. Don't get me wrong, but
probably he's like 34, isn't he?
He's up there.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not a.
He's never really had a serious injury, so it's not like he's really been hampered by something like that.
No, but I think he could hinder any volume for any other running back there.
But don't you think they would more or less take him and just make him a third down back then?
No, I think they'll ride until he's done.
What's another good spot? Trying to think of another place that needs one.
Miami. Oh no, they have like 16 right now. They have 16.
Yeah, no, Miami doesn't need to draft a running back. I mean, the problem is they don't have a what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have. I mean, I guess Mozart could be their stud.
Injury prone.
I mean, Chase Edmonds.
Nothing.
Injury prone.
Hasn't really done much.
I know one team that is in talk to get running backs is Buffalo, which is ironic because they've bought the last two drafts or two drafts prior. Mm-hmm. They had drafted both of them first round, or not first round, but they'd both taken running backs high, Moss and Singletary.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Moss, if he just isn't fitting in there or he's just not that good.
It sounds like they're looking for a compliment to Singletary.
Yeah, and I never thought Singletary was that good. So I'd like to see Moss as a change of scenery, but
and then there's still the names out there that haven't signed yet. Melvin Gordon. He hasn't signed with a team yet, and he's gonna end up somewhere.
Yeah, I know he was talking to Baltimore.
Yep.
That seems like it doesn't make.
But why?
A lot of sense.
I mean, Dobbins should be ready when the season starts.
Mm-hmm. Plus, we already got Latavius Murray.
Yeah, but those are just
Tyson Smith,
those are bridges.
whatever.
I mean, those are bridges. Those aren't.
But they're suitable. I mean, you don't need two like main guys.
You know, Darryl Williams, which I'm surprised someone hasn't actually added yet.
Yeah.
I know he was talking to Arizona, but it sounds like nothing came of that. I was telling our people here that I could see this year being the first year. So I'll read because you weren't here for it. I was naming off the history of our first round. So since 2014, only one non-running back has gone, and that was in 2015. So in 2014, it was Adrian Peterson was the first overall pick. 2015, it was receiver Amari Cooper. That was his rookie year.
Amari Cooper's the number one pick.
Number one overall pick, and that was on a 5-keeper year. And that was that your first year?
16.
16 was your first year. That's right. 15 was the first year we had the expansion team, which ended up being yours. So in 2015, I'll never forget that day. So it was my brother and my dad were here, which are Dennis and Will's team now. And Jordan had the first overall pick, and Jordan had Marshawn Lynch. He loved Marshawn Lynch. And I remember my brother was trying to get his first round pick, and my dad was trying to get his first round pick. And so it came down to this. My brother offered him $50. So at the time, Jordan was like 16. Okay.
Yeah. I'd probably do it now.
And so then my dad offered him $10 for Lynch. And somehow who else got in the thing? That was a lot of trades went down. Jimmy traded my brother Mark Ingram, I think, on that day, because we actually not only because we did that meeting was actually also in April, if I remember, and that one we actually announced our keepers at the meeting. So you announce your 10 keepers at the meeting, as opposed to waiting. And that's where I think we did that for a couple of years. I think we did that for the first 2 years. And then I think it was just like, well, maybe we should wait till after the NFL draft to do this. So that's where June 1st kind of came up. And I think it's been the perfect time because it gives enough time for you to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Look at the landscape of free agency and the draft. And it gives a good gap for me to set up, the draft guy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so Cooper won 15, and after that it was Elliott, McCaffrey, Barkley, Montgomery, Taylor, and Najee. Which, ironically, all except for Peterson, all these players are still in the league. I mean, I'm pretty sure Peterson at this point is done.
Yeah. Interesting. So I know the team I took over in 16 didn't have the first round pick because it was
traded
for Marshawn. And then Marshawn retired.
Let's look at that. So 2015, which was the first year that your team existed, because yours was an expansion team in 2015. So you were Sean Biggs. So he went 4-10 in 2015. And then you took, so it went from, listen to this, folks. It went from 4-10 in 2015 under Sean. And then in 2016, guy took it to 10-4, won his division, and won the league championship. So miracles can happen. First, from last to first, worst to first, and that's how they say it. And see how did Guy file that tremendous effort up? And then he went down to 5-8 the next year. Let's see. So you got 5-8. Then you went to 8-5, but you made the playoffs.
Ironically, it was the next 2 years I drafted for Ross, and he did quite well.
Yeah. Then you went to 7-6. And you were 6-8 last year. You've actually never gone less. You've never gone in your own division. You've never been worse than second in your division.
Because I'm good.
Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Injuries have held me back big time.
Well, I think some could probably say a certain trade in 2019 didn't help you, or 2020 didn't help you.
Yes, which the trade, he's been injured a lot.
And unfortunately, you can see you don't have a first round pick this year. And I actually thought I forgot about this because it's in the system.
Uh-huh.
I thought this was you don't have a first round pick next year.
I don't have one next year?
You don't have one next year. He has yours next year too.
I thought he already had 3 of them.
He has next year's too.
Jeez.
But you have in 2024. And the good thing is 2024 is going to be our next reset.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's, this year, because I acquired Jordans in a trade in the offseason last year. I mean, to be honest, I thought about trading that one away depending where it falls, and I think this is a very weak draft. I'd rather have next year's, to be honest. It's going to be a lot stronger.
Could be. I think there's some possible good ones to be had in this draft. It just, like I said, it just depends.
For fantasy or for actual NFL itself?
For fantasy, there's a few guys I had in mind
Receiver.
watching.
Receivers. I assume you're talking receivers because there's no way you're talking quarterbacks.
2 quarterbacks that I feel if they end up in the right situation could be pretty good.
Well, Willis and
Probably
Pickett.
Who?
Willis and Pickett.
I don't like either of those 2 guys.
So then it'd be the next 2 are what? Riddler and
Ritter
and hold on. What's the other one? It's not Howell, I'm sure. What's the one I'm missing? Oh my god, I've done all these stupid. I've been doing mock drafts as it is. I can't believe I haven't nailed this one. And I think this is the one. So I have, in all the mock drafts I've done so far, and they've changed, but for the most part, I've been consistent. I've had Malik Willis going to Carolina almost every one I've done. Mm-hmm. I've had Pickett going to Atlanta in almost every one I've done. So the one I'm thinking of, I think I had Ritter going to New Orleans in almost every single one I've done. The one I'm thinking of, I keep having going to the freaking Steelers, and I can't think of who the hell it is right now. Who is it?
Coral.
Sam Coral? Or was it Matt Coral? Where's he from?
Ole Miss.
Okay. I thought Sam. Same I am.
All the hype that Malik Willis is getting, he's not any faster than like Pickett and Ritter and Cora are all probably about the same speed-wise as fast.
Right.
I think Willis has a little bit better, like juke kind of moves, but I don't think he's anything.
Well, here, let's do this because I want to, because we talked about doing an after meeting stream, doing that. So let's save all that for that. Let's not break. We gotta save something for the viewers later. This is gonna be a big stream day. So let's do the breakdown of teams. Because that's the whole point of what. So we're gonna start with you, Guy. Why wouldn't we, right?
Yeah.
I think the very first time we ever did a stream, I said to Jimmy, "Hey, let's talk about Guy," and you sat right there, and you're like, "As you should be talking." So you finished 10th overall. You had a 6-8 record. You finished second in your division. Points overall scored, you had 17,618, which put you 11th overall in points. Points against, so this is what people scored on you, 17,297. Where do you think that ranked you? Points given up.
5th.
First.
Really?
Which means you were the least scored against team.
Not good defense.
Well, it's not like that's how they perform. So when they showed up to play Guy Conkey, they did not bring their A game. Unfortunately, neither did he.
Yeah. Very good at C&D games.
So I did it like I always do. I go through all the games, and I have whatever games were 100 point or less, I consider close games. Because really 100 points you can make up pretty easily. So here you go. So this is what you had. So, and these are actually big deals. So in week 5, you lost to Megan. You put up 1,180. She put up 1,268. If you win that game, I think you almost make the playoffs, actually. Where's the... Hold on. That's how close... That's why the parity in this league was tremendous. Yeah, if you won that game, you may have been in the playoffs. And then also you beat Mark. I'm sorry. In week 9, you lost to Jimmy by 2 points.
I remember that game.
And if you won that game, you would have been in the playoffs.
I think that's the game where I had like...
Actually, if you won both those games, you won your division. No, I take that back. You did not win your division. You would not have won your division, but you would have been the 6th seed in the playoffs. And then in week 14, you beat Mark 1102 to 1055. And then in the semifinals of the best of the rest.
I think Friarmuth must have had a good game that week.
Yep. Oh boy, that's a touchy subject with Mark. We all know that. And then in the semifinals of the best of the rest tournament, you lost to Christina, who won the best of the rest, 1334 to 1348. Thoughts on that season?
I think if you put a healthy Christian McCaffrey in those games, I probably would have won.
Yeah. Let's see. I wish I had the breakdown of the actual playoff game. So I was just curious how you would have done in the playoffs. I didn't track that.
I don't think I would have done very well. I think I was watching it. It wasn't.
You would have played Will in the first round. No, you would have played Will. You would have played not Will. You would have played Kyle in the first round, right? Yeah, you would have played Kyle, and then you probably would have got destroyed. But at least you've been in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. And that would hurt Mark because he wouldn't have had a lottery pick. Yeah. So one thing I did for every team is I looked at, because this is a 10-keeper year, I looked at potential players you could be keeping. So I'm just going to give you my prediction of your 10. And of course, this could change based on guy just may say no, or he may say, I'm trading that player. And I know some of these people you've talked about trading. So they are, as of right now, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, yep. Receiver T. Higgins, receiver Michael Pittman, quarterback Joe Burrow, running back McCaffrey, yep. Tight end Darren Waller, maybe. Running back Zach Moss, tight end Pat Fairmouth, yep. Fryermuth. And I do have, by the way, other contenders. Receiver Michael Gallup and receiver Rondale Moore. With the and I have 3 exceptions. Receiver Elijah Moore would be considered probably. Mm-hmm. Defensive back, because he did do some good points. Defensive back Diggs, yeah. Trayvon Diggs, mm-hmm. and kicker Evan McPherson. Mm-hmm. I looked also at consideration of maybe moves you could make. I could see potentially you going for 2 or 3 trades, players, mm-hmm. and then trying to get rid of 1 to 2.
Sounds about right. I'm still very in the air on my quarterback situation, with how I want to handle it.
Well, I mean, you could possibly say you have the best quarterback situation in the league. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, you do. At one point, it was Nick Ergang, but with the whole situation in Cleveland, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
You definitely have the best. I mean, you have the best backup in the league.
That's where I'm like, maybe I should just keep, because then I don't have to worry about if one goes down. Then at least I have a
right
top.
But
tier.
What could you get for?
Right.
And I know which one you'd rather get rid of. I mean,
probably it's very close, and my 2 favorite players are those 2 guys.
Oh. I did not know that.
Yep. Two favorite players in the league I have in my team.
Oh.
Haven't played the same position.
I didn't know you had a second kicker.
I do like both my kickers.
I like to try to get people that are here. So let's talk about my team. So I went 12-2, finished second overall. Of course, lost in the finals. I put up 20,822 points, which was the highest scoring team in the league. And I gave up 18,493, which was the 10th most. So people brought their A game when they played me, for sure. Close games I had in week 3, I beat Jimmy 1369 to 1340. And then in week 4, I beat Efren 1532 to 1461. Week 13, I beat Jimmy 1454 to 1449. If you take those two games and flip them around, Jimmy wins the division. We both make the playoffs, but Jimmy wins the division. And then also in week 14, I beat Dennis 1684 to 1632. And then in the semifinals of the championship tournament, I won 1382 to 1343 over Kyle. I mean, I can't complain about my team. To be honest with you, I was surprised I got as far as I did, even though I went 12-2. With the injuries to Dobbins, with the injuries to who else? Oh, to the whole Calvin Ridley situation.
Yeah.
You know, if those guys are playing, I think I may have won the thing. So my potential 10, and this actually changed, so you know, this changed based off some things that happened. So originally I had in here Marquise Brown, Devonta Smith, Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott, Trevor Lawrence, J.K. Dobbins, Devin White, Micah Parsons, Calvin Ridley, and Antoine Winfield. Because when I made this up, everything was good with Calvin Ridley, and Tom Brady was retired. So, at this point, Calvin Ridley is up for trade, and Tom Brady will be kept. So, it's kind of between who I keep in the 10th spot now. Other considerations are Hunter Henry, Marlon Mack, who just signed with the Texans.
That's right.
Depending situation, Darrell Williams could get kept if he went to the right situation. And then I put down Patrick Queen, but I'm not keeping Patrick Queen. So that's my team. Let's see who else we got here. Let's move on to Megan. Save Tony for when he gets here. So Megan, let's see. She unfortunately finished 3-11, which put her 16th. Hence the reason she has the best chance to get the first overall pick. Scoring, she put up 15,371. Where do you think that ranked her?
Third to last.
Dead last in scoring. And then she gave up 18,585, which put her 11th. So she got a little bit better relief there, I guess. But obviously when you're putting out the least amount of points, that doesn't help. Her only close game was the game where she beat you, 1268 to 1180. Which actually that was her first win of the year, which I think at that point she was 0-4. Her keeper situation is not as strong. We're looking at she has Kirk Cousins, Nick Chubb for sure will be a keeper. Kyle Pitts should be a keeper. Lockett and Beckham could be keepers. Depending her mindset, Tannehill could be a keeper. I could see potentially Nick Bosa. Devontae Parker should be a keeper. Sterling Shepard could be a consideration. Traquan Smith could be a consideration. And then the other ones I have are O.J. Howard, Randall Cobb, and the Baltimore defense. I could see her potentially wanting to add 3 to 4 players. and probably losing 0. I mean, there's nothing she wants to give up there. I mean, the ones that are worth keeping, she needs to keep.
Unless she gets an offer she can't turn down for.
Right. I mean, if I'm her, if I get a decent offer even for that, if she gets the first overall pick and someone says, to me, there's no, like I said, I don't, if she can get a decent running back from someone else that's already playing as opposed to one of these rookie ones, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because there's no game changer. She needs a running back is what she needs. She's got Chubb, but that's it. I mean, she's okay at receiver. I mean, if she gets the first overall pick, she's going to have to take a running back for sure.
Yeah.
No matter which one. Let's see. Let's do Efren next. So Efren was the previous winner of the league, 2020. In 2021, he went 5-9, which put him 13th overall. He scored 17,171 points, which put him 13th overall in scoring. And he gave up 18,664, which put him 12th. So really, what he gave up and what he was scoring himself is like literally where he finished. Close games he had a week 1 win against Tony, where he won 1268 to 1223. And then in week 4 he lost to me. He had 1461 to my 1532. Week 11 he had a win over Rich of 890 to 813. But none of those situations really are going to really affect his season. He's not making the playoffs. Even if if he turns that one loss into a win, he's not making the playoffs. We looked at his keepers. He's not in a horrible keeper situation. Definitely needs to address some things here. But so receiver DJ Moore should be a keeper. I could see receiver Kadarius Toney. At this point, even though he doesn't have a team, I would still say Melvin Gordon is a keeper at this point. Again, June 1st is when they're due, so you have time. Justin Fields should be a keeper for sure. Derrick Henry,
I just cut Fields.
No. Derrick Henry should definitely be a keeper. Potentially, I could see Harrison Smith. He does put out good points as a safety. I think this might be the last year you keep Matt Ryan.
2 years ago was the last year you should keep Matt Ryan.
Evan Ingram. And his value could change because they might even move him. I've heard possibly moving him to receiver. And then also Nelson Aguilar and linebacker Isaiah Simmons. With other considerations, linebacker Harold Landry and kicker Daniel Carlson. Efren could potentially add 2 to 3 players. Let's see. Any thoughts on Efren's team?
I think you're pretty much right on. It's so hard to really tell. I'm not. I don't know about Matt Ryan. Like how much of it was the rest of the Falcons last year. If he still has anything left. I mean, you could definitely tell he was lacking some arm strength the last couple of years.
You're putting him in a better offensive line.
Yeah.
With a better running game and better receivers.
That's why I'm thinking he might still be able to.
Because Calvin Ridley only played, half the year, if that?
Man, it seemed like it was only a few games.
Let's see, Jordan. Jordan finished 5-9, which is 14th overall. He scored 15,790, which is 14th overall. Points against, though, he was 17,441, which put him 3rd. So if he had a little more output, he has a better record. Close games, which were all losses. And that's key, because these are all losses. So if you took these numbers, literally, and made them all wins, he makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
And these were close ones. So he had week 2, he lost to Will, 1332 to 1395. In week 7, he lost to Rich, 844 to 864. That was, I think, some guys got hurt in bye weeks as well. But I mean, right there, that's a big one. And then he lost in week 14 to Will again, 1284 to 1297. I mean, those are all like really tight games where he wins all 3 of those. He's in the playoffs. And then you have his team looks like this as far as potential keepers. You got Tua, quarterback Tua, Tagovailoa, running back James Robinson. I think as of right now would be a keeper.
Probably.
I mean, we don't know what Travis Etienne's going to do yet.
Yeah.
I'd say Chuba Hubbard would be a keeper at this point. He did decent when he got in there.
Yeah, but right now he's like the third string back.
Trey Lance should be a keeper. Devin Singletary. DJ Shark. The Chiefs defense. Jordan Hicks, linebacker. Tight end Rob Gronkowski. Now that could change, obviously, if he decides he's not going to play again, but I think he will play one more year.
Yeah, I think Gronk's is basically a red zone target right now.
Yeah. And receiver McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
The only other consideration would be Garoppolo, but I don't see him keeping 3 quarterbacks. He could keep 3 because obviously he has 2 on the same team. Unless, of course, Garoppolo gets traded. He could use to acquire 3 to 4 players. Try to trade for 3 to 4 players. He does have that. He will have a lottery pick, which right now it sits at 9. We'll see where it falls. It could move up, could move back. I mean, it will move back 1 spot, but.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that team?
I think most of the teams are.
And that's your division. That's one of your guys.
I think most teams are really just a couple moves from being competitive. I mean, all the teams for the majority, seem to have the same amount of like key core players. It's just getting the right players around them. Like, it's nice to have everyone as superstars, but if you can get someone that just puts up some numbers every week that you can plug in.
Your division has always kind of intrigued me because I hate saying this, but yours is always kind of looked at as the weakest division. It always seems like it's the weakest division. It seems like any of the 4 of you could take it.
It's like NFC East.
But, like, none of you are, like, no one's, like, shaking in the other 3 divisions, when you get to the playoffs. And it's just, obviously, you've won it once, and Mark's been in the finals once. But, I think things are changing. I mean, I see your team has potential for sure. And Will, I mean, everyone looked at Will's team like it was going to be really weak. Like, and then he ends up winning the thing. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
He
never thought.
he made some good moves to make that all happen. And, Mark's obviously, he's got some work to still do on his team. And we'll do Mark next. You know what? Why not? We'll get to Mark. Mark is going to be here till probably late. He's reffing. So let's while we're in your division, we'll keep rolling.
The arch nemesis.
So he finished 3-11, which put him 15th overall. He scored 15,573 points, which was 15th overall in scoring. Points against, he gave up 18,012 points, which actually put him 6th. So people weren't bringing their A game when they played Mark. Problem is he didn't have anything he had no output.
It's upsetting he's wasted all the draft picks he got from me.
Yeah. I didn't like the Mozart pick at 3. I think he would have been better off going. At that point, he would have been better off taking Chase or Pitts. Close games, he only had 2. Both were losses. One in week 4, he lost 325 to 301 to Will. And then in week 14, he lost to you. He put up a 1,055, and you had 1,102. Even if he won both those games, it wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't even have a shot at the playoffs. And then for player keepers, now here's the thing: is you look at his keepers. I think he's gonna have a turnaround this year, and one reason is going to be because of one of his keepers for sure. He had a guy sitting on his bench the entire year. So he had, for example, he's going to have Tyreek Hill. Now, Hill could take a dip in points.
Probably
Christian Kirk could upgrade in points. Well, he's going to be more of a target now.
I don't know. I think he's going to be pretty close to what he had.
Kittle, if he stays healthy. Tight end. Now, this one hasn't signed with anyone yet, but as of right now, it should still be a keeper. Receiver, Jarvis Landry. I mean, he actually, if you look at, he's still, of all the receivers in his class, receiver rookie class, which are some good ones, he still out catches all of them.
Yeah.
Here's where it's going to turn around is going to come is the quarterback spot, and that's Deshaun Watson. You know, as long as he's cleared to play,
Yeah.
and his isn't because of injury; it's because of other off-field issues.
He's still probably going to miss 68 games this year.
Yeah. Well, better than having a guy not there at all. And then you have receiver. Again, this could change, but as of right now, it could have receiver Robbie Anderson. And I think some of these, because when I made this, by the way, when I made this originally, the free agency hadn't started yet. So some of these moves hadn't taken place. So I have Budda Baker as a keeper, Joey Bosa as a keeper, kicker Tyler Bass, and running back Myles Gaskin. Now, some of these are going to change because, for example, Raheem Mostert will be a keeper now. I mean, he should be.
Yeah.
And also, has Will Fuller signed with anyone yet? And I put on here that he consider the Steelers defense as a potential as well. Potentially he could do 2 to 3 moves, upgrading positions. Running back is what he needs the most, by far.
Yeah.
And I know he would love to get. I know if he gets that first overall pick, I know exactly what he's taking. I'm pretty sure he's gonna take Walker, but I mean, he is a Spartan fan.
I mean, loser's gonna lose.
Let's see. Let's go to Kyle. This used to be Ross's team. So Kyle took over Ross's team, and he went 9-5, won his division, finished 3rd overall. Points for 19,913, which put him 3rd in scoring. 18,292 is what he gave up, which put him 8th. So obviously he was basically beating everyone that he played for the most part.
Yeah.
He only had 2 close games. One was in week 9, which was a loss to Tony. He lost 1309 to 1376, and then in the semis he lost to me. In the championship semis, he lost to me 1343 to 1382. What's interesting about that, I guess it doesn't affect any. Even if he would have won that game, it wouldn't have affected anything with him because it wouldn't have affected his playoff position. He still would have been where he was. Here's one of the most loaded rosters you're going to look at. So here's potentially his keepers.
I should get some credit in this team.
Well, he made a lot of moves though last year. I mean, a lot of what you helped draft for Ross, which I know Ross gave you input. It wasn't like you were actually drafting the team.
I like to take credit where I can try and squeeze it in.
But he made a lot of moves. So you got so his potential keepers are Stafford, receiver Mike Williams, quarterback Russell Wilson, tight end Travis Kelce, running back Alvin Kamara. That one could have some potential blowback because he had a off-field incident.
Nothing's more has come from that yet.
Running back, again, this could all change, but running back Chris Carson, receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, receiver Allen Robinson, receiver Jacoby Myers, and kicker Harrison Buckner. Other considerations are, and I think one of them will move into that, I think, is Armand St. Brown.
Amonra.
Yeah, the receiver from Detroit. I think he will move into those 10. Who comes out? It could be Myers. It could be Chris Carson. It could be the kicker. Other considerations are Rashad Penny, depending where he goes. I don't think he's signed yet anywhere. I don't think he has.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, sometimes I put if he could end up in a spot where he gets good production. I also put down Tampa defense, Myles Garrett. I put for adding, he doesn't really need to add anything. But he could actually trade away 2 to 3.
Yeah.
He has locked in. He has the 14th overall pick. Thoughts on that team?
It's a good team. I mean, there's not a lot of weakness there. You can always look to try and upgrade in spots. Maybe find a receiver. I'm not big into Monroe St. Brown. I'm a Lions fan, but I just think that last year was a great circumstance that he was in. But they have a lot of other receivers that are going to be healthy this year and have better rapport with Goff, I think. I think it'll be okay, but I don't think he'll be like last year.
Right. Stay in that division. Let's go to Rich. Former champion in our league. So Rich finished 5-9, which put him, and he finished 9th overall. Because he lost to. No, he did not. He just missed out on the. He was in the semis, I think. So he put up 17,255, which was 12th in scoring. He gave up 18,829, which was 13th in scoring. So he didn't have a lot, but he had a lot of injuries as well. Close games, he had 4. In week 5, he lost to Will 1402 to 1405. Will had a lot of close games, and when we get to Will, you'll see that. He lost to Jimmy 1373 to 1462. He beat Jordan. That was we talked about earlier, 864 to 844, and he lost to Efren 813 to 890 in week 11. If you take those 3 losses, turn them into wins, he's a playoff team.
Yeah.
You look at his potential keepers. We got quarterback, which was a tremendous move. Quarterback Mac Jones. He's got receiver Stephon Diggs, receiver DK Metcalf, running back Aaron Jones, running back Tony Pollard, tight end Tallis Goddard, running back Antonio Gibson, receiver Michael Thomas should be back this year, and that really hindered him last year.
Yeah.
Receiver Julio Jones, who has not signed yet, but will sign, I'm sure, somewhere.
Tampa.
And I got the Bills defense, which was the number 1 NFL defense last year. Also considerations, linebacker Jordan Brooks and defensive lineman DeForest Buckner. Thoughts on Rich's team?
It's pretty solid. I think there's a few players that can maybe move that were decent last year that may not have longevity. Maybe try and upgrade off of their success they had last season.
And of course, here's the thing. You look at what he's got. He's got 3 first-round picks. And even though 2 of them are the last 2 still, that's 3 first-round picks. I mean, he's going to have a potential to add some upgrade. He might get 1 running back out of this and 2 receivers. He definitely will need another quarterback. I mean, Mac Jones was solid for him, but Mac Jones isn't going to... As of right now, you don't see Mac Jones as being a scoring machine.
No, I think he's your classic game manager.
I don't want to... What's a good way? I mean, I hate comparing it because they play the same team, but he would be considered, I guess, young Tom Brady in a way. Like, wasn't a lot of production out of there early.
Yeah. I could see
wasn't
that.
really losing you games.
But can you go out and win you games? That's,
Yeah.
If they get... That's why I saw them struggle last year, was when they were down. If you can move the team downfield, like their lack of like upper class receivers hurts them too. Like they don't have that guy they can just go to yet. They could get one of those. They figure out a way to get one of the top receivers. I think they'll be a lot better off, and then decide on a running back. Like, I'm not big in a lot of splitting of the running back carries. Like I think you need to have one guy just to feed the ball to and get hot and go. And then just the other running back is just to give him a breather.
Okay. Well, I guess I will be addressing that later. Something big. I was notified of something very big. I will bring that up later. I'm just getting some confirmation on something here. So let's go to Will. Will, of course, out of your division. Went 9-5, won the division, finished 6th overall. Point scoring 17,919, which put him 10th in scoring. And in points against, he gave up 18,094, which was 7th scored against. So he didn't have a lot of production, but he didn't really get hammered when he played teams, which is obviously good for him. He had a lot of close games. In week 2, he beat Jordan 1395 to 1332. In week 4, he beat Mark 1325 to 1301. In week 5, he beat Rich 1405 to 1402. In week 14, he beat Jordan 1297 to 1284. And then in the semis, he lost to Jimmy 1163 to 1255. I mean, he was the cardiac kid this year. Potential keepers, we got. So as far as those, if you took those 4 wins, you flip them around. I mean, he doesn't win division or make the playoffs. I think he could only afford. What was your record again? You were 6-8, so he could have afforded a couple losses and still won his division. Keepers, Cooper Kupp. At this point, James Conner would be a keeper for sure. Robert Woods would be a keeper. Darnell Mooney could be a keeper. Tight end Dalton Schultz. Receiver Marvin Jones. Running back Darrell Henderson. Receiver Braxton Berries. Quarterback Davis Mills. Kicker Jason Sanders, with other considerations being tight end Robert Tanyan and the Miami Dolphin defense. He could probably add 2 to 3 players in trade. He does not have a first-round pick. That it belongs to Will. Will's pick belongs to Mark. Thoughts on that roster?
Couple decent players on there. I think there's, in this kind of league, I think you also got to be considerate of age of players.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of them.
Well, and you look at the quarterback position right there, Davis Mills. I mean, that's kind of like just a bridge. I mean, I put it in here, but I mean,
I think this year we'll be able to find out if he's legit or not.
I mean, are they going to draft a quarterback? Probably the first round they won't.
They might later on. I think they're going to set on seeing what he can do.
But they're kind of, unless they acquire, I'm surprised they're not. Honestly, why did the Baker just not go there? You know, why did that just not be part of the deal? But that's one thing I never.
Didn't want him.
I mean, he's from there.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. Like, he would be a great fit. That he'd be beloved in Texas, in Houston.
Yeah, I think Baker's kind of dug himself a little bit of a hole. Like, I don't think he's completely wrong on how he feels and stuff, but I think the way he's handled it could have done a little bit differently. I think this had soured a lot of teams. I still think he ends up in like Seattle somehow. On a side note, how come no one can stop the Grizzlies like alley-oop play? They just have point guard runs up the middle of the key, the wing just goes down and jumps, throws it to him, he dunks it every time. Not every time, but it seems like most of the time.
I don't know. I haven't been watching the game. I haven't been watching the game.
This is the most NBA I've watched this year.
And you were in the basketball league.
Yeah.
You finished
last?
No, 8th overall.
Really?
Yep.
So drafted well.
I drafted for you if I remember.
Did you?
You gave me what you wanted,
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and the basketball league. Unfortunately, I got you in it for a year, and I could tell you weren't going to finish it after about halfway through. I'm like, he's not really doing anything with this. And you weren't the only. There was 2 other people that added. So the basketball league is going to get condensed a little this year. Basketball, unfortunately, football. I got people lined up. Like literally, I have. Basketball is hard to get people.
It's just, I think it's not the amount of games really. It's just my interest level. Like,
well, a lot of people's interest level. It is. I love basketball. I don't watch as much. I mean, I pay attention enough to do the fantasy, but we're going off. Let's keep rolling with the football here. So let's do Christina next. So of course she had the worst record previous year. She went all the way with only 1 win the previous year to 7-7 this year. Finished 7th place, won the Best of Rest trophy. In scoring, she scored 18,941, which was 7th, which was way better than she did the previous year. And points against 17,318, which she was the second least scored on team. So for her last year, she was like one of the worst teams. She gave people just hammered her when they played her. Where this year it was the other way around. They didn't bring their A game against her, and she actually had production against them. Close games only had 2. One was a loss to Dennis, 1640 to 1731. And in the semis of the Best of the Rest, she beat you 1348 to 1334. Here is her projected keeping roster. Quarterback Dak Prescott. Running back Josh Jacobs. Running back Saquon Barkley. Receiver Keenan Allen. Running back Javonte Williams. Tight end TJ Hawkinson. Receiver Hunter Renfro. The Rams defense. Linebacker Bobby Wagner. Linebacker Levante David. Other considerations are quarterback Carson Wentz and kicker Ryan Suckup.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's some decent core players there. Just have to hope for some of the younger players to continue getting better and then add a couple solid veterans.
I mean, you're looking at what she's got. With whatever she falls there, it's a receiver. It's got to be a receiver.
Yeah.
And definitely you can add some good ones in this year's draft. Let's see. Let's go to Anthony next. Anthony, he finished 13-1 in the regular season, won his division, had the number 1 overall seed. He finished 4th place. Points for, he scored 20,445, which was second best. Gave up 17,699, which was 4th best. So only 1 team in the league outscored him, and people did not bring their A game when they played him. So it's just those. That's why you're 13-1. When you're out producing everyone, and they're not even producing against you.
Yeah.
He only had 3 close games. One is asterisk, and I'm sure Dennis will bring this one up because Dennis actually beat him in the week. However, there was a score correction. So he beat Dennis 1552 to 1551. And that was a touchy subject with Dennis, by the way, with very good reason, because had he won that game, he would have been in the playoffs. Week 12, he beat Nick Ergang 1084 to 1060. And then the semis, he lost to Tony 1765 to 1772. So here's one way to look at all these. So here's the differential. So if he loses either one of those games that were close, I would have been the number 1 seed. He would have been number 2. And he would have ended up playing Kyle in the second round because he still would have got a bye. If I remember, he would have, but he still would have beat Kyle. So he would have been in the finals. Had he lost to either Dennis or Ergang, he would have been in the finals. And I'm trying to think, he probably would have won, actually. I can't remember how the scoring on the other one goes. Who we got here? Let's go to Nick Ritz, former 3-time champion. He was 7-7. By the way, everyone, the meeting doesn't start till 6, and so it's not that big a deal that no one else is here. There are actually, I think there are people here. I can hear my wife talking to someone. A lot of people don't want to go on camera. So in 2021, Nick Ritz went 7-7, which was 8th place overall. He lost in the best of the rest final. Scoring, he scored 18,364, which was 8th place in scoring. But when he played, he gave up 18,942, which was 15th. So teams really brought their A game when they played Nick. Mm-hmm. He only had one close game, which was a loss, 975 to 1060 to Tony. And that was in week 4. Potential keepers. Now, this is one of those hampered by injury teams, and this is a loaded roster also. Mm-hmm. So, receiver CeeDee Lamb, receiver Jalen Waddle, running back DeAndre Swift, tight end Mike Gizgowski. I know I said that wrong. I think I actually said the character from Monsters Incorporated.
You
did. Running back Kareem Hunt, receiver Cortland Sutton, which I think his production is going to go up as long as he's healthy.
Sutton?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Running back Cam Akers, running back Travis Etienne, quarterback. Now this one could be a change out or it's a keeper. I'm not sure. Quarterback Zach Wilson, and then receiver Brandon Cooks. Other considerations are receiver Kenny Galladay, running back Roquan Smith, who was one of the highest producing linebackers.
Yeah.
Linebacker Fred Warner, who was another top 5 producing linebacker, and defensive lineman Aaron Donald.
I wish I could get back guys I'd let go. My team would probably win a lot more.
I mean, really, you look at his roster, the only weakness is quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, Zach Wilson. I mean, he almost has to keep Zach Wilson, but he could. And he doesn't have a first round because he gave that to Jordan has his first.
Yeah.
And that was part of the CeeDee Lamb deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's loaded at freaking receiver.
Yeah.
And he's solid at running back. I mean, obviously, the only thing that hurts him is almost all these guys have an injury bug to them. Mm-hmm. Almost all of them. Thoughts on Nick? Toughest division probably he's playing in.
Yeah, he's got a really good roster. Like you said, quarterback might be a spot to look at an upgrade. Zach Wilson, still you kind of don't know what kind of production he's going to have. They seem to keep loading up on receivers and keep wanting more receivers. So it's just kind of hard to tell how they're going to be. Plus they just acquired or signed, what's his name, from Cincinnati, their tight end. I can't remember his name now.
Which team again we're talking about? Sorry.
The Jets.
Oh, they signed the Uzi CJ from Cincinnati.
Yeah, Uzoma.
Yeah, but he's not.
He's better than what they had.
But he's another one that's injury prone.
Yeah.
The Jets are definitely going to draft a running back in the first round, or wide receiver in the first round for sure.
Well, they got 2 picks.
They have 2 in the
5
top 10.
and 7.
I'll tell you this, and again, I don't want to get too much in the NFL draft because we're going to talk about this after stream. But by the way, thank you, Anthony. He says we're doing a great job. He's watching this right now.
Thank you.
So the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets and the Giants both have 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah.
The Jets have 2 in the top 6.
Jets have 5 and 7.
And the Giants have 4 and 6. The Giants have the Bears pick.
Yeah. Something like that.
I want to.
Houston's got 3 and 13.
Philly's got like.
They only have 1 because they traded to the Saints. Saints have 16 and 19.
Yeah.
Because they're going to trade.
I think Philly still got 2.
They still have 2?
Yeah, I think they had 3.
Oh. Yeah. A ton of picks this year.
I think they flipped around. Let's get to another team. Let's get to Dennis because I know he won't want to come on camera. So Dennis was the second worst team last year. He came up to 5-9, which made him 11th overall. But he was one of these. I mean, again, cardiac kid's going to come up here. So points scored 19,455, which put him 6th in scoring. And then points against 18,923. So he had good production. The problem was they came at him when they played him.
Yeah.
So here's his close games. Week 4, he lost to Jimmy, 1387 to 1422. Week 5, he lost to Anthony, 1551 to 1552. We already talked about that one. In week 6, he beat Christina, 1731 to 1640. In week 10, he lost to Nick Ergang, 1218 to 1240. In week 12, he lost to Jimmy, 1338 to 1434. In week 14, he lost to me 1632 to 1684. So you literally, if he turns let's say he turned all those into wins, he's 10-4. And being as he would have beat me in one of them, he wouldn't have won the division, but he would have been a playoff team. Actually, he would have actually played Will in the first round. I mean, potentially he could have actually gone at least to the semis.
Yeah.
He could have been in the Final Four. His potential keepers, Josh Allen. I mean, that's not a potential, that's a certified.
He's a great defensive end.
Yeah. Wide receiver, Adam Thielen. Receiver, Amari Cooper. Running back, Najee Harris. Running back, Leonard Fournette. Receiver, Chris Godwin. Running back, Chase Edmonds. Defensive lineman, Max Crosby. What a monster he was in the playoffs. Running back, Ronald Jones. And receiver, Cole Beasley. Other considerations are quarterback, Daniel Jones. And defensive back, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. Thoughts on that team?
I would say you need to add running back and receiver. Kind of make up for lack of production some of the guys have in that team.
Did we not? Didn't we cover Anthony already? Or no? Didn't we cover Anthony? Did I totally miss him?
I don't remember.
He wants to hear about his roster. That's why. I'm like, I thought we covered Anthony. You must have missed it, buddy. Because I know we talked about you. But you know what? I have no problem going back and redoing you. Here we go. So we'll just talk about his roster again. Because I think that's what he wants to know. You know what? I just realized we got rolling with the game, and I never went into his roster. We never covered his roster. All right, so I apologize for that. Anthony's roster, potential keepers, quarterback Kyler Murray. There's a situation they got to get cleared up in Arizona. That's not a player situation. That's a management situation. He's going to be a star wherever he is. That doesn't affect you fantasy-wise. That's the Arizona issue. Receiver Justin Jefferson. Receiver Devontae Adams. Running back Joe Mixon. Running back David Montgomery. Receiver Mike Evans. Receiver Van Jefferson. 49ers defense. Linebacker T.J. Watt. And this could change. Quarterback Jalen Hurts. Receiver Tyler Boyd. And then other considerations, also linebacker Devondre Campbell and defensive back Jesse Bates. Don't you wish you had these issues?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a tremendously loaded roster.
Team, yeah.
I put T.J. Watt in there over Tyler Boyd. That you could flip-flop those two. You could also flip-flop, I guess, Tyler Boyd and the Niners defense, even though it is a pretty damn good defense.
Boyd's just going to be kind of buried on that depth chart for catches right now.
And that's kind of why, I mean, Watt gets you a lot of production defensively.
Yeah.
You don't really, it's hard to replace that kind of linebacker production as far as sacks. Otherwise, that's the only one I would swap out is Boyd with Watt, or you could consider Boyd with the Niners defense, I guess. The Niners defense hasn't lost anything, but they haven't upgraded anything either, so they're kind of stagnant.
I would definitely key into Watt.
So I get, and The thing is, even if he has Boyd, he doesn't play him because you can only play 3 receivers. Even if you go with a flex, you're only playing 4 receivers, and he'd be your 5th receiver no matter what, anyways.
Yeah, it's a solid receiver.
And you're looking at a 13th overall pick, which probably you're going to want to eye a running back. That's the thing he could do, and that's another thing he could do is he could take any one of these players. It's not that he needs a running back necessarily. He needs a 3rd running back. Like I said, a lot of people wish they had these issues, okay? Let's see. Let's go to Nick Ergang next. So Nick, 7-7.
Good drink.
He finished 12th overall. Points, he scored 18,216, which was 9th. And he gave up 17,901. Sorry, I just gotta. I get people messaging me during. Okay, Tony's on his way, I guess. He gave up 17,901, which is 5th overall. He only had 2 close games. One was a win in Week 10 against Dennis, 1240 to 1218. The other was a loss to Anthony, 1060 to 1084. If you turn that loss into a win, he's a playoff team.
Yeah.
And actually, that actually does more than that because that actually would have put Anthony in the finals also because Anthony would have moved into my spot and would have beat Kyle and would have put him in the finals to play Tony. Hello, my wife Amy is down here.
Hello.
He came in through as he calls the Champions entrance.
The Champions entrance. Very good. Are you online?
Yeah, we're streaming.
Oh.
You can be part of this if you want.
Oh, no. I don't need to be part of it, but
Talk
I'll
football with us.
Huh?
You can talk football with us.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. You want me to tell you what I think? I was just coming down here to see what was going on.
You should take a sip of the punch. It's got. Is it cold?
Not like we normally have.
Well, there's no. The thing is, so I got this new punch thing because ours went bad. We had it for like at least 10 years. So I got this one yesterday. All of a sudden I realized, oh my god, we don't have one.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah,
Good. There's
cold.
like there's a disc that you put in the freezer, and it goes in like this stainless steel thing, and it.
He's dying to hear more about it.
Let's talk about Nick Ergang's team.
Stop. We got to change the stream to home appliances.
Love it.
You didn't bring your guitar.
I thought I had it in the car, but I forgot I didn't have it. I have
He
everything
doesn't want
else.
to learn.
He got a new guitar.
He doesn't want to learn. Tell the truth.
I do.
Not. Just keep saying it. And I'm going to correct him.
So back to football. Nick
It's too
Ergang.
hard. It's hard.
No one's up there yet?
Oh, I can go back up.
No one's here yet?
No.
Oh.
I purposely didn't invite any of my friends over.
Oh.
I mean, I was like, let you guys hang out.
I know Tony said he's on his way. So Nick Ergang, quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Garbage.
No, Lamar Jackson's a Ferrari in the regular season, and he's a Chevelle in the.
It doesn't feel cold out here, but it is inside.
Receiver Terry McLaurin.
Ferrari.
Receiver Debo Samuel. Receiver T.Y. Hilton.
Oh my god, we have a lot of cheese. We should put that in the freezer.
Running back Miles Sanders. Running back Austin Eckler. Tight end Tyler Higbee. Quarterback Baker Mayfield. Kicker Justin Tucker. And receiver Marquez Scantling. Other considerations are linebacker.
Forgot the Valdez.
Oh,
Eric, do you want some queso? I'll make it. We got a lot of cream cheese.
sure.
I'll make some queso and then
I don't know if we have any.
I have everything.
Okay, chips
Oh, I can run to the store.
and linebacker C.J. Mosley.
Just put that all in the freezer.
Howdy.
Oh my God, we're literally talking about your team right now, as Nick Ergang shows up.
How are you?
I was hoping that your wife would come.
You should have told her.
I know, but I always feel guilty. Like she'll have to find a babysitter, and I don't want that. I see her every 6 weeks.
Nice.
You know?
No.
You look good. You look
Hey.
like you look thin. You been dropping some weight?
Maybe, I don't know. Nah, really pay much
I
attention
love
to
it that it doesn't, I don't know. Like, for me, it's like, yes.
So Nick Gergang's in house. So how you doing?
Good.
Good. We're streaming live. We literally were talking about your team right now.
All right.
You finished 7-7 last year. You had the 9th scoring offense and the 5th scoring defense, or 5th scored against defense. So, which means when teams played you, they didn't really bring their A game, which is a good thing. It's what you want, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You had 2 close games. One was a loss. One was a win. If you turn that loss into a win, you would have been in the playoffs.
Good with it.
And then we looked at your roster of potential keepers: Lamar Jackson, Terry McLaurin, Debo Samuel, T.Y. Hilton, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Tyler Higbee, Baker Mayfield, Justin Tucker, and Marquez
Valdez.
Scantling. I mean, it's a solid roster.
I mean,
And
every
he's
team is very similar. Like just a couple of moves is all anyone really needs for the most part.
and he's sitting 5th in the lottery, so potentially that moves up.
Yeah.
You know, you got your starters. You just need to add. I mean, you can add receiver depth or running back depth. So you're in a good position.
You could trade out.
You could trade out. You got the best kicker in the league,
Yeah, about it.
huh?
Yeah.
Everyone loves a kicker.
I like my kicker.
I like the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's talk Jimmy. Jimmy went 7-7, finished 5th overall. He put up 19,621, which is 4th in scoring, and he gave up 19,240, which was worst in the league. So everyone played him, brought their A game. His close games, he had quite a few. Week 3, he lost to me, 1342 to 1369. In week 4,
69.
he beat Dennis, 1422 to 1387. Week 6, 1462 to 1371. He beat Rich. Week 9, he beat you guy by 2 points.
Dare you?
In week 12, he beat Dennis 1334 to 1338. And in week 13, he lost to me by 5 points. And then the semifinals, it was the game that decided 5th place. He beat Will 1255 to 1163. If he could, it wouldn't have mattered. Even if he would have turned those two, even if he would have turned those two games where he lost to me into wins, he still wouldn't have won the division. Because that would have put me at 10. That would have put me at 10 wins instead of 12. So it really would have done nothing. Well, I take that back. It would have done something for him because it would have put him playing Will in the first round as opposed to playing Kyle. Potential keepers, we got Nick Erging's look-alike, Aaron Rodgers. Receiver Deontay Johnson. Receiver Jamar Chase. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Running back A.J. Dillon. Running back Delvin Cook. Receiver Jerry Jeudy. Receiver Chase Claypool. Tight end David Njoku. Did I say it right?
Njoku.
Defensive back Micah Fitzpatrick. Other considerations are tight end... Huh? Mika. Other considerations are tight end Noah Fant and running back Alex Mattson. And I always say that one is because... Madison. He always keeps him because of Cook. I'm not known for saying names correctly. Thoughts on that team? Either one of you.
I think it's pretty good. I'd probably look at a decent backup quarterback, just because of you never know with injuries.
You never know with Aaron Rodgers. Period.
Yeah, he's gotten a little weird the last couple of years. Did you hear what he said about Devontae Adams? Said it pissed him off that he did it. Said he was selfish. Aaron Rodgers said Devontae Adams is selfish for leaving?
Oh.
Like, what about him?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna retire if you don't pay me, trade me if I want to do what I want.
Let's see. Jimmy's got
Mm-hmm.
the 12th overall pick
I was
locked
actually
in.
starting to like him as I watch Pat McAfee listen to him on the radio, and he's on there like every Tuesday during the season.
Okay.
Like he seemed pretty open, he was down to earth, and like, okay, maybe I had the wrong opinion of this guy. But then all this stuff happened.
Yeah.
And I lost. I'm like, nope, done.
Let's see. It's 5:30. So we got one more team to cover. We'll just cover them now. That's the league champion, Tony. So
Sucks.
Tony finished 9-5, won it all.
95 wins it all.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is make the playoffs. I mean, teams have won the Super Bowl off that record.
Still not right.
Let's see. Points. He scored. He scored 19,556, which was 5th overall, and he gave up 18,300, which was 9th overall. So he had good output and was kind of mid. You know, teams brought their game, but they weren't a game. He had 4 close games. 3 were wins, 1 was a loss. So in week 1, he lost to Efren 12-23 to 12-62. In week 4, he beat Ritz 1060 to 975. In week 9, he beat Kyle 1376 to 1309. And in the semifinals of the championship tournament, he beat Anthony 1772 to 1765.
Jeez.
Let's see. So literally this. So if you took those 2 wins away that he in the regular season, I think he might still make the playoffs though. His roster keepers: quarterback Justin Herbert, receiver AJ Brown, receiver Rashad Bateman, tight end Mark Andrews, running back Eli Mitchell, receiver DeAndre Hopkins, running back Michael Carter, receiver Brandon Njoku, or Ayuk. Sorry, I don't know why it's named Njoku. Ayuk, running back Damian Harris, and quarterback Derek Carr. Other considerations are running back Sony Michel, running back Kenyon Drake, kicker Matt Gay, safety Derwin James, and linebacker Darius Leonard. I could see Leonard actually being the one that moves in there as opposed to Harris.
Yeah, I'd probably hang on to him. I don't think Sonny Michel's worth keeping.
He still hasn't signed with anyone yet.
That's a good reason why he's not worth keeping. He's nothing more than a backup.
We have another attendee walking the red carpet right now. Dennis
Hello.
Byam has just showed up.
Hello. How y'all are?
And he does not have mac and cheese this year, it looks like.
No, it's just a business meeting.
Just the business. Any thoughts on Tony's roster?
It's a good roster. I mean, I probably need, like, pretty much everyone know running back depth and hopefully hit someone that can produce more.
Of course, he does not have a first-round pick this year. So it'll be interesting to see.
I remember when I had Herbert on my team.
Hmm?
I remember when I had Herbert on my team.
I remember when I tried to get Herbert from you.
Yeah. Can't believe at one point I had Mahomes, Burrow, and Herbert on my team.
It's a nice problem, I guess, to have.
Yeah. I traded him for garbage.
I think one of those things turned into
It turned-
McCaffrey, didn't they?
I don't think it was. I think it turned into T. Higgins.
So that's every team. It's 12:30. Got a half hour, so I've been doing this now for 2 hours. So I figure if I kick off the red carpet, fortunately only 3 people showed up during it, but I know more are on the way. And
Prioritize.
yep. So we're gonna kick off here for about 28 minutes, and we'll be back on at 6 o'clock for the actual meeting. So thank you for those that have been watching the red carpet event. And we'll see you here in about a half hour.